This world was devastated before I was born. A harsh, bleak place where we live in eternal darkness. Life is a struggle, and people live without hope. How did this happen? No one will answer me directly, but they always point to the flames. These flames, they burn away at my world, destroying everything in their path. They come from an eternal life form that we cannot truly defeat, the flames of disaster known as Iblis.
Silver!
Blaze, what's wrong?
He's appeared again!
Alright guys, and welcome back to more Sonic 06. Today we're starting off with Silver's story. And its first level is, of course, Crisis City. Now, just kind of get this out of the way, I know a lot of people don't like Silver as a character, and I can kind of see why, because he's kind of jumping the gun with kind of a spoiler, but believing Mephiles when he says that he can, you know, make everything right, to bring Silver's world back to pretty much what it was before he was born. But, I don't completely dislike the character. He's pretty much a desperate, he's in desperation right now, trying to figure out a way to bring his world back to the light, as some would say. And just in terms of his gameplay, it has screwed up less for me than in Shadow or Sonic. Like, he doesn't have a homing attack that will completely glitch out and not even work. And really, I just have more fun with him than I do with Sonic or Shadow, which is ironic since the game is called Sonic the Hedgehog. Now in terms of his gameplay, you hold down R1 in order to grab objects. And you throw them at enemies with the square button, but you can also go up to enemies, you have to get pretty close though, and hit the square button to paralyze them, and also then use your psychokinesis, or what they call it in this game, to grab them and pretty much kill them instantly. Some enemies will take multiple slaps with your psychokinesis slap. As we'll see later on, the golems of this level take on, I think they take maybe like 3 or 4 slaps before eventually they are paralyzed. But pretty much they go down in one hit. Later on, we'll get a new move, which is basically a psychokinesis stomp, or ground attack I should say, which basically paralyzes more enemies around you, and I just find it to be a lot more useful than his slap attack here. And yeah, that's pretty much all of Silver's gameplay. You're just picking up items, throwing them at enemies, and if they're too powerful in order to kill in one hit with the boxes or whatever's around you, you just go up there and slap them. And yeah, that's pretty much all that we'll be seeing in this playthrough. And like I said, I just find it to be a little bit more satisfying, especially when you get an enemy in your psychokinesis and you throw them at another enemy. I don't know why, I just find that so much more satisfying than homing attack them 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, over and over and over again. But yeah. Just so you know, I have recorded all of Silver's story. I'm gonna try to record one episode. I'm gonna try to record my commentary, and if Chaos wants to join in, some of his commentary as well. Probably once every day. Pretty much, I think this playthrough has, I think it's 5 or 6 parts to it. That's with edited out deaths too, so yeah. Just kind of getting off the subject right now because really there's nothing else to talk about, it's just Crisis City. I've actually been on a pretty big anime high as of late. Like, I've been really craving something new. Like, really, I haven't been watching too many anime series as of late. Like, even the new Sailor Moon series, which I wasn't a big Sailor Moon fan in the past, and I was hoping maybe this one may actually shed some light on why the series is so damn popular. And I watched the first episode, and I was like, it was alright. It's nothing really special, even though it's pretty much kind of a reboot / remake of the original series. But What I did watch lately is actually a really good anime called Welcome to the NHK. How can I describe it? It's basically about this guy who is a hikikomori. In case you don't know what that is, it's basically someone who secludes himself from society, basically. It's someone who just doesn't want to be around other people because they think that they're looking down on them. Or there's actually some other types of hikikomori that they describe in the show. And it's basically him kind of coming to grips that he might actually be one and trying to, find problems to solve that. And it also has this really cool plot of him and one of his friends. I can't remember his name, but he's voiced by Greg Aries. And I think, honestly, a lot of people hate Greg Aries, but in terms of performances, I think this is actually one of his best because he does a great job of performing anger and just the emotion that this character is going through. And it's actually justifiable as to why he's going through what he is. But the pretty cool plot is actually because it kind of relates to me because he's trying to make a game, apparently because he can get out of the hikikomori type therapy session, or therapy sessions, I should say, if he can provide proof that he's actually kind of commemorating to society. So he and his friend decide, okay, we're going to make this game, and it doesn't go over so well, but, I mean, it does, but I don't want to spoil it. I'm just saying, if you like stuff like that, go ahead and watch it. It's even for someone like me who thought I wouldn't really like it all that much, I actually end up really liking it. And the dub is actually pretty solid. But, let's see, other than that, oh god, Sword Art Online 2. I'm going to admit this right now, I am not the biggest fan of Sword Art Online, mainly because of the main character Kirito and the absolute terribleness that is the cast of characters. Like, what I consider a good character is someone like Edward Elric. He has multiple layers to his personality, and he's just overall a good guy. You can actually tell that just by watching his character. For Kirito, I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to be. Like, he's a good guy, he's a bad guy. I know he's supposed to be the good guy of the series, but his character's so cliche, and it's just, I don't like him as a character. I'm sorry. If you guys like him as a character, that's fine, but for me, I wish they would have gone a lot deeper into his character than just, oh, he likes video games. That's it. He does actually have a little sister, or not sister, but freaking, I believe it's his cousin, who, oh god, I don't even want to get into that, really, it's just kind of disturbing. It's like, if you want to create a character like that, do something that's, I like good characters, I do. And someone like Edward Elric has really kind of set the bar as to what I think a good character can be, which is kind of sad when someone can't do an Edward Elric type right. But like I said, if you like Kirito as a character, that's fine, but as for me, I just wanted him to be a bit more, I don't know, special, I guess you can say, someone who's not as cliche as the others. All he does is kind of go around defeating other enemies, pretty much being a cliched badass, overpowered, having women falling at his feet, just falling in love with him, all that good jazz, and it's just, I don't like it whenever they do that kind of stuff. I would, however, suggest you watching a series called Log Horizon, which is what I consider to be SEO done right. Now, it doesn't have the production value that SEO has. The action scenes really aren't that epic, but what they get right, they get really right, and that is the characters and the premise, as well as the setting, because it actually feels like a video game. It feels like an MMO. And the main character is just someone who I like to consider like the new light, because he's so devious, and he's so, I can't even put into words what he is, but he's so devious and so cunning, but he's also very caring, and he's doing it all for the right reasons, because he wants to help his friends and everyone else in the world besides just himself. And yeah, that's something that I kind of wish maybe they would have made Kirito just someone a bit more deep like that. Even though I wouldn't consider that to be the deepest of characters, I do like it a lot better, and he's just a really, really great character. And all the other characters are too, because they get these kind of mini arcs that kind of develop their characters as well. And I'm actually really looking forward to Season 2 of that show. And the best thing is, they don't follow what Sword Art Online did. For instance, in Sword Art Online, if you died in the game, you died for real. In Log Horizon, however, if you die, you respawn. That's right, you're pretty much immortal in Log Horizon. And what I find really cool is that, unlike an SAO, they're not actively trying to escape their world, they're trying to adapt to it, etc. And yeah, that's just something that I find pretty cool. But we're getting to the end of the level. I may talk about Log Horizon later on and this other show that I found, but right now we're going to be heading on out, actually, to our first boss fight with Iblis. And I think I get a B rank? I think I get a B rank here. I wouldn't be surprised, because that's all I've been getting throughout this game. No, I got an A rank. Okay, well, that's cool. That is a good grade. Alright.
Come on, you monster!
Alright guys, and welcome to the first boss fight with Iblis. This is Iblis phase, whatever the fuck he is. Now your basic, what you're going to want to do here is basically take this debris and shattered, okay, or these little fire pellets that he fires out from his body, and you can actually pick them up with your psychokinesis and hit his head with them, and that's basically where you want to aim. It's for his head. Anywhere else on his body will not damage him, at least from what I've seen. Maybe someone else has figured it out, but I've never been able to damage him except for on his head. It's a pretty easy boss fight, but it can be kind of annoying, especially when you run out of debris. I say that mainly because it takes him a good while to pick up another building to crash, or to basically crush it on what you're standing on, and it can take a little bit of time, and that's why it just Oh, I completely missed. But yeah, this is just boring right now. Yeah, getting back into what I was saying before about another series. Another series I'd recommend is a series called, I believe it's No Game, No Life, which is a pretty, I can't really describe it because I haven't watched the full series yet, but so far I've watched about 12, wait, 12? No, I think it was more like maybe 10 episodes. And so far I am really enjoying it, mainly for the main characters, who are actually pretty funny, especially the main male protagonist, who is just, I laugh so much at him, just because of how he is a pervert, I will admit, at times. But he's basically, from what I can tell, an otaku. He likes video games, and his sister kind of has, I wouldn't say this thing for him, but she kind of likes him, etc. I don't know, it's just something you've really got to watch for yourself, and I do really like the series. I just recommend it if you're interested in video game type animes. But yeah, other than that, I did actually watch Little Witch Academia, which I had heard about but I'd never actually watched, and that is actually a pretty good little short episode. It's, well, I wouldn't say short, it's 26 minutes, but there's nothing really else to it. It's basically just a girl who's inspired by a supposedly fake witch goes to a school for witches, and she has to learn how to become a witch, etc. She goes through a trial and, you know, finds out that the witch wasn't exactly all that fake after all. You know, it's cliche, but it's still a pretty good little watch if you want to just waste some time. What else have I been watching? Honestly, I'm just finding things to talk about because this boss fight's just pretty boring. Yeah, that's pretty much all I really think I've been watching as of late. Yeah, Welcome to the HK was probably the highlight of that little marathon of anime I've been going through. Just because it has some comedy in it, but it does get kind of emotional at parts. And if a series can make me actually feel towards the characters, which is pretty rare nowadays because anime tends to lean more towards the ecchi genre, etc. And the characters aren't exactly all that fleshed out. Then that's a pretty big, you know, that's some pretty big results right there. It's kind of like with Guardians of the Galaxy, how that was able to make me almost cry, and god damn it, that opening scene. Why did they open with something like that? That was just, that's such a realistic depiction of how a child would act in that situation. But we are done with Iblis. And down he goes.
That took too long.
Looks like we stopped it for now.
But it'll just rise up from its ashes again. What's the point of all this? It'll never end.
Calm down, Silver.
Then tell me what we should do. How can we completely destroy Iblis?
By knowing the truth, of course. Just as a flower comes from a seed, or a chicken comes from an egg, everything has an origin. You need to find the being originally responsible for this catastrophe.
Is that really the answer to our problem? Tell me, do you know who it is?
To fix this present timeline, you need to change the past.
But that's impossible!
With my help, you can. Because I have the power to travel through time.
No way!
In order to change the past, you must eliminate the individual who has awakened Iblis. The Iblis trigger.
If I eliminate that guy, will our world be saved?
The day of disaster. Here are my records of this event. This was when Iblis was freed, and his flames were released into the world. And you have this person to blame.
I see it! So that blue hedgehog's the Iblis trigger?
Blue Hedgehog.
I'll send us back in time to the point when the Iblis Trigger was alive.
Where am I? Blaze? Blaze! I guess we all got separated. This is so unbelievable. Now, I must fight for the future. The Iblis Trigger. Where is he?